Alright, we should be good now. I'm sorry. My chat or whatever was messed up earlier. Is this the right thing? Alright, there we go. We'll 11 this. Put on the sunglasses. Also the stream. There, I'll post it. I forgot that the Uncommon podcast is streaming too, so that's a little... This was kind of like the best time for me to stream today. But thanks for stopping by, everyone so far. Actually, I need a copy, chat. Give me 1 second. Chat overlay. That should work now. There we go. There's Tucson. Where can I find my complete transaction history from day one? I started with Veve. The only way that I know of it is just, yeah, you go to your account wallet. And then on there, it says transactions. And that's it. That's the only thing I can, it's really the only thing I can think of. Is just, you look it up in there and just normal transactions. Going further back than that, I don't know. You might have to contact like Veve support. I'm sure they have a record of it. I'm sure if you just say, hey, can you send me a spreadsheet of my transactions, or like, is there anything you guys can send me info-wise about my transaction history, you know? I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. Sven, what's up, dude? What are those two doing? Like they're hovering over a table? You know what? I honestly have not. I do like the look of it. But I have not taken, honestly, that close of a look at the Rogue and Gambit. So I did not play this drop at all. Throwing an additional 45 gems at a craft after I've already spent 90 gems on yesterday's craft kind of seemed like a bit much. And I also had a feeling this was not going to sell out, so I just didn't touch it. If you really want this version, I mean, you can pretty much buy it for what it would cost you to buy Rogue and Gambit and do the crafts all the way down anyway. Yeah, because if you bought Rogue and Gambit right now, what's that, like 10 gems? You do the 2 crafts, that puts you at 55 gems. So, you know, unless you're fishing for like a good mint number or something like that, there's some double digits down here. 96, that's an interesting one. Isn't that the last year until X-Men, like the original X-Men cartoon, like went off air, right? Was 1997. So I feel like more people would put a price on 97, but oh well. But yeah, we'll take a closer look at the actual like collectible. Well, you can't look at it on desktop anymore. I think actually Kid Arcade brought that up once, and on his stream, and I didn't realize it, but yeah, he's right. Like I've tried, you know, 6 or 7 different ways to look it up on the web app, and you can't do it anymore. So you'll have to like look it up on your phone. I don't know how against the table they are, but the detail and everything looks pretty good. How much is the uncommon going for on the market? Let's look up Kinetic Kiss. I think that'll do it. Also, I'll zoom in more so you guys can see a bit better. Pasternak, what's up? Sound a bit low? All right, maybe it's my mic. All right, does that sound a bit better? If not, I can always up the gain a little bit. There, I increased it by like 10%, so we should be good. Sven, do I sound better? Pixel Trader, what's good? Weekend vibes? Yes, sir. Glad you're here. Did any of you guys go for the Gambit Kinetic Kiss? How'd you guys do? Wow, there's only 2 in the market, or 3 in the market of these Rogue and Gambit Kinetic Kiss. So these people are deciding to not do the craft, which is interesting. Because you could just, because it's like an extra 30 gems, maybe these people think they can kind of get away with selling these. I don't know. All these crafting mechanics are pretty interesting. I'll be honest, I was on the fence of whether or not to craft Rogue all the way up. I bought the common, no issue, and then of course it gives you an hour to think before the next crafts all kind of take off. So I waited the hour, and then I waited for the market to open, and I was keeping a close eye on this. I'm like, I don't know if 300 of these are gonna sell, because only like, I'm trying to remember at the time, like 500 or 600 of these sold, like at the time. So I was like, man, are really half the people gonna spend an additional 75 gems and craft all the way up? I'm like, I think some people, but not half. So I was keeping a close eye, and then yeah, sure enough, on the market it wasn't sold out, but I knew it was going to sell out maybe over the course of a week. But yeah, within 24 hours. That's why I posted the X post about it. Let's see if I can find it. Not replies, but yeah. No more crafting SR Rogue. Yeah, the floor was 60 gems at the point. D'Angelo, the physicist, what's good? I bought a rare Spider-Man, Peter Parker. I'm trying to get the UR and SR now. Dude, that's a good call, because you know what's funny was sorry if I'm all over the place. I was going to make a post about Spider-Man rare, I kid you not, like today, about some collectibles that are just like at a very good discount. Yeah, like even right now, Spider-Man Jump in Action, it's at 30 gems. All-time low was 28 gems, and that was actually just a couple days ago. So dude, there are a lot of collectibles pretty much at their all-time lows, including Todd. Am I doing this wrong? There we go. I gotta select this. So Todd right now is at 318. His all-time low was 314. Joker, it's like the same thing. I think right now he's at like 26, but his all-time low was like 25 or 26. Yeah, he's pretty much at an all-time low, unless someone bought him. Wow. I apologize if I'm all over the place, guys, but that's just how my mind went. So he's at 28. Okay, there was one listing at 26, and someone bought it. Dude, who's this? Dynamox. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's check Stacker and just see who are some of the top holders of Joker. I'm actually just kind of curious. A bit better. Maybe it is my laptop. BTC way down. Trump slump is here. Yeah. My man, what's up, Adro? I'm also having trouble pulling up Joker. I don't know why, but sometimes I'm having issues with Stacker pulling up information, or sometimes it just takes like a very long time to pull it up. All right, we'll switch over in the meantime. But yeah, Joker was, 26 gems like earlier today, or 25.5. That's an all-time low. I mean, this is, I know there's a lot of mints of this, 7,500, but how many mints does Vader have? Like overall, I think that's the only other villain I can think of on Veve that even compares to Joker. Also, just fantasy in general. Let me see. Common and uncommon are almost like identical. I think it's just because the mints are so close. 10,000, 11,000. Yeah. This one is animated, so I will say that. But I mean, there's a lot of. Yeah, there's like 37,000 Vaders on Veve. Did I do my math right? No, 26, not 30. Yeah, probably 27,000 Vaders. But there's only 7,600 Jokers. Yeah, I really can't get a good angle. At least I can't see it here. Thanks, Pixel. So no one else played the Gambit drop? I was keeping a close eye on Gambit and Rogue. having trouble with Stacker. It stinks that after almost 4 years of Veve, you can't look at Veve's own market history to truly see what's going on with Veve. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Veve's kind of like in a weird spot. I mean, now that I don't know, there's a bit more clarity on kind of regulatory stuff, right, around NFTs and crypto. Or at least it's on the horizon, right? Hopefully over the next 6 months to like a year, whatever, however long it's going to take. But Vivi's like trying to be very careful about trying to position themselves as like a collector platform and not like a market or anything like that. Like there is technically like a market, but it does seem like. But who knows? Maybe with Ben Rose that could change. I think before with David Yu and other people, obviously there's a big collector aspect, and it's still that way. But maybe they could open the door a little bit to showing some transaction like history information or whatever it is. Luckily, Vive's cool enough to like give out the API info for, you know, third-party platforms to do what they want, or let the community create their own platforms to search the market. That's why I use, you know, my NFT tracker as well as Stacker. I do like them both. I miss the days of ecomi.wiki. I think that's what I used before, or was like something. Ecomi.wiki, no, is like, dude, I completely forgot the name of that platform that I used to use a long time ago. I think I used to have it saved, but not anymore. I love that trading platform. That platform was a lot of fun. The way they presented everything. Also, it updated every hour, so there was always something for me to do like every hour on the market. But yeah, not anymore. Some of the platforms still update. Actually, my NFT tracker does a pretty good job of updating. I just don't know if it does it every hour or is it a couple times a day. So sometimes I don't always 100% rely on it when it tells me like floor prices and stuff. But yeah, also it just takes a lot of man hours to develop something like that, and who knows if they can or will. Using up my safe gems at these prices, am I catching a falling knife, or maybe is this dump before the next pump? I'll be honest, I am pretty hesitant to keep. I'm only buying stuff that I've always really wanted, or stuff that I'm kind of using for the Veveverse, and I might use it for a little bit and like flip it on the market again, and, you know, maybe take like a 1 or 2 gem loss, but at least I like used it. But I do think the market overall, and unless the NFT narrative hits, I'm just not sure how like Veve's gonna like really absolutely take off, right? If we're talking about like an explosion of people, you know, we're 10xing over a few months or whatever it is. Unless the NFT narrative hits, I'm just not sure how that's gonna happen. So I long story short, I do think prices are gonna get a little bit lower, or a lot lower, who knows? But I do think that disparity, I think people are understanding there's going to be a lot of collectibles, like a lot of collectibles that are not worth a whole lot, you know, 1 to 10 gems or whatever it is. And the disparity is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, all the people, you know, that like certain collectibles are like, well, Woody is the most popular, one of the most popular Pixar characters, or, you know, whatever it is. But he's still competing against Todd and Batman. People have been spending way more money on those characters than, you know, others. So this is the kind of thing where it's like, it's going to keep going down. And then once the market like recovers, you'll notice, you know, a lot of stuff's going to go up, but a lot of things are going to, some things are going to go up more than others. Down for Veve. Yep. Game over. Yeah, 15 common prices collapsed. Yeah, let's see. It's actually a good call. Amazing. I think if I just did fantasy, it would have pulled up. But that's a good call, Tucson. I haven't looked at AF15 in a while. 129. Yeah, that one is. I mean, they're still, and they're. It's still a 10,000 edition comic, right? There's still a lot of people that have commons on this, so. And I do think there's a handful of people that do think the market's going to keep going down, right? I mean, there could be a day where we see a, you know, 70 or 60 gem amazing fantasy 15, right? But then there also could be a day where we go back up to, you know, 800 gems. Yeah, quite a few things. A lot of the grails. You know, the ones that haven't. Let me look at Hulk 191 really quick. I would say Amazing Fantasy 15. That was you know, that's the holy grail of all comics, right? So, of course, it went up a lot, especially towards the tail end of, you know, the market doing really well. Like the market was like, when did Amazing Fantasy 15 come out again? Yeah. Anyway, this one is somewhat holding its price. I think the high, I remember this one initially going up to like 55 gems, like after the first like week it came out, right? Tons of hype. People wanted Wolverine for eternity. People wanted Wolverine for like 2 years, 2.5 years. And then this finally came out. I don't think we had the collectible yet. So people were pretty hyped for this one. So this one had a lot of room to fall, but it's still hanging out kind of around its retail, which is like 20 gems. So a little bit lower. What's another big one? Sports cards are collectibles and they have a digital market history on their platform. For any blockchain, it has every transactable visible. VV's lacking in the space and it's embarrassing. Yeah, it's very, I'm not too familiar with Panini. I keep saying Panini. Blockchain. I'm not familiar with that platform. I do know there's other blockchain collecting platforms and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to compete with the IPs and stuff on Veve, but I agree. There should be some sort of like transaction history or something you should be able to easily get, or put in a request and you'll get one, you know, later that day or whatever it is. Prices are up on other NFT platforms. Good for them. I mean, if it's for a lot of them, this is their like first time going up, right? I'm not too concerned about Veve's market prices. I still know Hulk 181, A15, like these are all going to do fine in the long term. It's just like, all right, in the short term and like the next like 6 to 9 months, like, yeah, prices could probably keep going down, especially since, you know, Veve isn't just like a speculative investment. It's like 2 or 3 chains down the line, right? Like it's not even like crypto where there's like ETFs and all that kind of stuff. And if you get spooked about the market, you can kind of, you know, typically when the market goes bad, people sell their like more speculative stuff first. And so it's unsurprising that people are selling Veve stuff, you know, if the market's in general is not doing too great, or if there's not an NFT narrative that's hitting yet. Tony, if we see something is bought on the market, we can't even tell if it was bought or sold to someone, or if it was just delisted. Veve needs to start fixing these simple facts. They could. I don't know. I just don't think, weirdly enough, is that like helpful information? Yes, but technically you can find it on some of these platforms, like if at least when Stacker's actually working, or if I'm just not using it correct. I think you technically can tell on here if like someone bought it versus, you know, delisted. Zoom in. I used to make a big, I'll be honest, I used to make a big stink about that. I was like, I have to know all the information and all the information like history, but I do think Veve is trying to position itself as like a collecting platform. And if they start giving us more and more information and then people start making charts and like, I mean, you know, at that point it's not in like the spirit of like collecting or whatever it is, even though people do it already, you know, in the real world with eBay and other platforms, and people look up pricing and stuff all the time. But Veve could eventually evolve into that, but right now they're just still trying to make it for like the lowest common denominator and just get people in, you know, see something they like, just buy it. You know, they don't need to know. They don't need to know. Let me show you some stuff. Let's see. I mean, you could see it if you were here, right? From like the beginning, or if you bought it early, like I did, but they don't need to. Let's go back further. Where's a collectible that I have that I paid a lot for? Oh, you know, it's because I have it in like. Well, I got some of these on the drop. You know, like this one's a perfect example. I have a few others too, but like, you know, they don't need to know that I paid, or that this collectible was once worth 1,900 gems and now it's worth 23. So There's that too. But I agree, Tony. Like that information like would be helpful, but I think who knows the amount of time and resources it would take for VB to develop that, and is everyone even going to use it? Honestly, there's still a lot of tools that are on VV that like nobody really uses, or they introduced them and people got super excited and they're like, oh, okay, like whatever. Let's see, Tucson. It all depends on what kind of worlds you are building in the VV verse. What is the IP that you is saying he can't believe he got? Honestly, I don't know what you're. You know what? I haven't watched. If you're talking about like that interview they did a while ago, I think on the Uncommon podcast, I've only watched like a third of it, and I still have to watch the other like 2/3 of it. I know I'm like way behind on that, but I assume that's what you're talking about. Like at some point in an interview, he mentioned like IP he can't believe he got. I'm not going to hype it up too much. I think it's some sort of like personal IP that means a lot to him, or maybe he thought he could never pull it off. I don't think it's like Pokemon or anything like massive, or it's like IP like I don't know, like another big like if it's like a huge anime studio or something like that. I don't know. It would be awesome they got anime, but I think it's more in line with some like Peely fantasy where like he kind of personally grew up with, or he understands the cultural importance of this IP to like a group of people that's not on VV yet. So it could be something more along those lines. But I mean, I would love it if it was something a bit more mainstream or something for like a more, you know, Western and Eastern like Western and Eastern like audience. But that's what I think it is. But who knows? I would love to be surprised. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, that's his whole job, and he's done an amazing job at it. But for some of those bigger IPs, I don't know, maybe they need more regulation and kind of framework before they can really continue forward. Doctor Strange, what's up, dude? Were you slacking or stacking the rogues? I kept my secret rare. I like the price, $69.69. I think no one should. I wonder if people are just matching it and not undercutting it. No, people are leaving it. Alt. There we go. And then Rogue. I do like this Rogue. I do. Obviously, people have been buying the Rogue, the 90s version of Rogue, for sure. I was going to buy some when it was at like 5-6 gems, and then I went to bed and I woke up and it was already at like 10. I do think she's going to pull back a bit more. I think a day's going to come when she'll go below like 6 or 7, and that's when I'm going to buy a few more. So I'm not like in a huge rush. I mean, April's coming up, and then we have May for Star Wars, right? So we still have a whole bunch of stuff. I think May is going to be a very good month to just like buy other stuff. The best time to buy other things is when Star Wars is happening. Not financial advice, obviously, but you were using a third-party app to figure out simple things. Have fun with hoping Stacker works. I mean, this is all I have, right? So I'm just kind of using the tools that I have at my disposal. I'm sure Vivi's heard before, like, hey, we need transaction history, we know all this stuff, but I don't know. For me personally, I would love to see like in the transaction history itself, because there is some transaction history. It's just not all laid out. This isn't going to show some like weird. Hold on. I'm like, this isn't going to show some like weird personal information, right? I don't think it should. No, it's fine. All right. Whoop. There we go. So yeah, these are all my sales. This is when I was like buying all like the rogues and stuff like that. But like these sales that I've had. This one just says like X-Men 3381, but I don't know what the collectible is. Sometimes I list so much stuff on the market to sell, especially the, you know, multiple X-Men things or whatever it is, and it sells. But like I don't know if this is a comic or a collectible. I think this was a collectible. I think I actually did finding out. I think it was like my Sabretooth, but it just said X-Men, and it was just weird. Iron Man Red. Okay, so I did that one. Facehugger, yeah. And I think, actually, you know what? I think it was a comic. It was like a comic and it was like a rare. And that's the other thing too. It doesn't tell you the rarity. It doesn't tell, like when you sell a comic, it doesn't tell you the number or anything on it. It just says X-Men and then the mint number. So that's one thing I would change about the transaction history. And I mean, and technically, I guess you can go back, you know, further and further and further. I think you can technically go all the way back to the beginning, but you have to kind of keep going back. But that's your personal transaction history. It's not like market transaction history. So am I having fun with some of these platforms? I would say so. I mean, my NFT stacker has definitely helped me get at least what I feel like quite a few collectibles like on a deal. Like pretty much every day I always go on here, look at difference to all-time low. I always switch it to collectibles because there's just too many modern day comics on Veve that it just floods the whole page. And so this is typically where I look just to see like what collectibles are at an all-time low. So like Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch, I don't know, 30 gems. How many mints were there of this guy? 1,200? Okay. Mephisto. I don't know if you need that for your collection or whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few collectibles at an all-time low. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the, you know, Dan and David and Corey and my collectibles, kind of a lot of those, what were they called again? What was that? Epico. I was going to say, what's the IP again? Epico. Some of the Epico stuff is going down, but I think if FA characters of popular Marvel villains and heroes are going down in price, yeah, it's not surprising that, you know, the Epico stuff's also going down. Vil, what's up? Nice to see you back in action. I haven't bought anything in ages, but a month ago I started to pick up common FAs of Amazing Spider-Man villains, also some X-Men, especially new X-Men. Number 2 is a good buy. I think, yeah, X-Men number 2 is a good buy, and also it's not even sold out, is it? Vil, I like what you're thinking, because we're on the same page. I'm just waiting for stuff to get super cheap. Sometimes I do FOMO into stupid things like this whole Rogue thing. Like I can't believe I spent all the way up to 90 gems. I did sell the ultra rare and rare, so I did get some gems back because I could rebuy those a bit lower, and plus they're not like my favorite Rogue outfits. I like the 90s and like the SR. Still quite a few special editions left, like 77 of these. And then, yeah, FA, and the other ones I was looking at was like Rhino. I know some people don't really like the Marvel Mighties, but like at the end of the day, these are still the FAs of the characters, right? Whether it's a Mighty or like a high-end digital collectible, whatever it is, it's like, whether you like it or not, it still has the tag FA. Like even Rhino, right? This is the first appearance of Rhino for 2 gems. I guess you could wait for it to go down to 1 gem, but I mean, arguably, there's less FA Rhinos than the Rhino comic, right? Because I think the Rhino comic... which one's the Rhino comic again? Drawn a blank. I have it, so I'm gonna look for it. Filters, common, apply. It's also... I'm going to mess around with the filters here. I've honestly never messed around with this filter, so we know it's an Amazing Spider-Man. We're doing common. We're just narrowing it down. There's Rhino, 41. Rhino. Yeah, there's 7,500 Rhino total editions, but how many commons? It doesn't say, but I think these usually have 4,500 commons. And then like the last 3,000 is spread out amongst the last 4 mints or 4 rarities. Dusan, why doesn't Veve want new customers? It's odd. I don't know. The speed issue was also very odd. Yeah, I mean they're doing updates, right? I mean if the website's going slow, they probably did some sort of update or some big thing. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it got slow because did they announce the Rogue and Gambit update before or after it was getting super laggy? Like I really think like Veve does an update in preparation for a certain craft or like a big drop or whatever it is, and sometimes the app just goes super slow. Vibes, dude. Cool. Well, damn good to see you streaming again, my friend. Dude, it's good to see you too. It's been so long. I cannot believe it's been 2 years, right? Since we met in New York. That was a lot of fun. I have the whole mighty set. Slow down. I have the whole mighty set. Been pricey at times, yeah. The mighty set can be very pricey, but if you're going for the full thing, dude, it's difficult to keep up with those mighty sets, especially as new drops happen, or like they could release an SR with like 20 mints. That's where it starts getting really difficult to kind of keep up with everything. Fans, FA might be the most overly used in Veve. No one can convince me that FA Golden Elsa 12,000 mints will ever be worth more than the Platinum Moments Elsa with 633 mint scarcity over FA. I think, yeah, you're right. I think FA is just a safer bet. It's always going to be in demand as it has the tag and everything like that. If you can afford the 633, then yes. I'm not saying, yeah, obviously that has what, 5% of the mints as the other Elsa, but who knows? Once big money gets in, or if NFTs in general ever really take off, anything can happen. My whole thing is you just can't go wrong with FA, and at that point, if you're buying Elsa, what's the Elsa? Just look comments. Are you talking about the poster or the? So this is the one I think you're talking about, right? This is the 633 or whatever. Is this the? Well, yeah, this is like a random one. Yeah, it's going for 22 gems, and then Golden Moments Elsa going for 50. So. Yeah, floor prices on this run up pretty quickly. After you buy a couple, the price almost like doubles. After you buy 3 of them, the price essentially doubles. But I mean, the fact that it's 5% of the mints, yet it's a little less than half the price. I don't know. But I do agree. FA is an overused term. I overuse it a lot. I'll be honest. I say it all the time. I mean, back in the day when people would ask me, "Oh, what should I buy or sell or whatever?" Like, yeah, FA's. That's typically where people look to. Even now, if you say Elsa in Veve, in like the Veve platform, everyone thinks of Golden Moments Elsa, right? The first appearance of it. If someone says Wolverine on Veve, what's the first Wolverine you think of? At least for me, right? I don't think of like Old Man Logan or even the SR Wolverine Primal Strike. Like I think of like the FA. So part of it is just also just recognition, but also B2. It's safe. So I have nothing against. If I do think there will be independent artist collectibles, I do think there's going to be like super scarce non-FA collectibles that will do better than FAs for sure. But if you want just something recognizable, easy to sell, easy to buy, because it's kind of hard as things get more scarce. Price gets more volatile. There's less buyers and sellers. So it's kind of like thin air up there. I mean, if you can handle it, go for it. But I think on average, you really can't go wrong with FA. Veve's audience is not the crypto bros. I mean, it doesn't seem to be the collectors either, right? I don't know. I mean, isn't that how Veve kind of originally started? Like a whole bunch of Omi backers, right? Veve's kind of started off with Omi. And so originally, yeah, it was funded or partially funded through crypto backing. So But if you're talking about, I mean, are there really collectors out there that just have like a bunch of money to spend? I mean, some do. Coolmo 1 picked up another Golden Moment set this week. Also, FA Spider-Man, all long-term buys. Yeah, you can't go wrong with anything that everyone's heard of. I do have a slight preference for single collectible FAs, kind of like Wolverine versus like Spider-Man. I mean, you buy both, but there's a lot of Spider-Mans too. I've been eyeing Ben Reilly for a while. I've always liked the pose. I think this is more descriptive. At least this is the way I envision Spider-Man more. I do like the Peter Parker and like the classic stances that are on Veve, but I really like these like really acrobatic kind of crazy poses that he does. I'm trying to remember. I think I do have something. I mean, the same thing could be said about like mint numbers and stuff too, Veve fans. But picked up another Gold Moment set this week. Also, FA Spider-Man. Oh yeah, I just read that. Certainly not. Tucson Crypto Bros like to make money. Set vibes. What's up, Uno Sean? Crypto Bros lose plenty of money too. Oh yeah, I think that's this is probably the few people that can stomach these kind of losses anyway. Like on Veve, so many things on Veve are obviously down over 90%, and it's pulling back even further, right? Joker, Batman, and a few others are pretty much at all-time lows for now. So that's why I'm selling a few things that I'm just not married to the idea of holding on to. And I'm up so far ahead on Veve that I could lose most of it and still kind of break even. I was just very fortunate early on, obviously with the market going up early on, but I did kind of sell a lot of stuff. Some of my favorite comics for about $3: Juggernaut, Rhino, Scorpion, ASM 20, Gwen Harry ASM 3, Star-Lord, Preview. Yeah, those are all fantastic comics. I think I pretty much I own all of those, at least in like a common form. I will say each time I win an SR comic, I usually keep it. So let me see the, but I do like all those comics. I mean, I think those are all awesome buys. Part of me almost thinks like I would almost rather buy, because how much is ASM right now? We looked for what was like 120. Part of me would almost rather buy like, of course they're not going to be $3 all the way up, but you know, if you could buy 30 Juggernaut comics versus one AF15, I don't know. That's hard to tell. Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of the Spider-Man villains for comics. Waiting to see how the Fortnite Disneyverse will be integrated with Veve. I just don't see how Veve will be left out. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for anything because Veve used to hint a lot of stuff, right? I mean, they still kind of do, but I think they're pretty much at the point now where they. I'm not really getting my until things like actually happen or they announce it. So that's kind of how they've at least conditioned us. I mean, I used to spend so much time like speculating like what they do and don't do, and Veve's gone in so many different directions since then. It's not like I've given up speculating or like hoping that they'll do what they say. It's just like we'll see. I'll have to watch the interview with David Yu. I don't know, every time I watch I do get excited and I start being like super optimistic. So maybe I need to finish that whole interview with David Yu and Dan and watch some more stuff. I've also just been kind of like totally checked out of, not totally, but you know, I haven't really made content on Veve for the better part of like on and off for like a year. Up until probably a few months ago. I mean, I was still always buying stuff here and there, but I was definitely being picky and choosy with a lot of my drops. I mean, there's a period of time where I think I only played a couple drops over the course of like 3 or 4 months. But when? I don't know, Tucson. Vibes, I keep thinking, keep all the losers, bank MCP. What do you think? I do think MCP is going to play a bigger role. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure about like the bronze tickets and all the other stuff too. Also like staking Omi. I don't know how Omi's going to play into all this. I do have some Omi staked still on Veve. I think eventually I need to get it over to Stacker or however that works. But stacking MCP points, I don't know. I feel like there's... I think it's more of a thing to stack passively. Like, collect what you want, collect the things you want, and then just get the MCP passively. If you feel like throwing an extra, 50 gems or a couple hundred gems or, whatever your budget is, at strictly just MCP earning comics or collectibles, then yeah, you can go ahead and do that. But like restructuring like your whole thing around MCP, I wouldn't do that. It's still too uncertain. Like, I'd rather you just kind of keep the stuff you like and enjoy. And if you do feel like, because I mean, what can 50 gems get you for... I should probably open another tab. Let me go here. Because you know what? I have not had the MCP talk in a while, and I'm glad you brought it up. Collectibles, comics, sets. Okay, let's switch back here. So, Master Collector program points. You can get some stuff for pretty darn cheap. Is that right? Soulstone, okay. Support the war effort, so we got some stamps. St. Nick. I mean, some of these are pretty darn cheap, and like no one's really buying stamps all that often, so I do trust these prices. I mean, first off, you can start off by just buying the Soulstone. It's a standalone set and it gives you 2 MCP, and right now it costs $1.16, or a little less than a gem. But yeah, I mean, if you threw... Yeah, you can stack a healthy amount of extra MCP if you just kind of like throw 40 gems at a few things, assuming you don't have these, right? Are you guys able to see this? I know like the text is super small, but Bob Iger said in the last earnings report 2 weeks ago that you will be able to buy both digital and physical goods in the Disneyverse. Also said you will be able to build and play games. Hoping, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like they're either going to pair up with Veve or Disney's already doing their own thing in the Disneyverse. And even if Disneyverse has their own thing, right? Whatever. Based on how they set everything up, right? We're gonna have such an advantage in that market. Like if we go into that market knowing what we know about Veve, whether they do KYC or don't, or gems, or this or that, or the types of drops they do, or if they even mention Veve or don't mention Veve, whatever it is. And even if Disneyverse does their own thing, I mean, I would assume there would probably be maybe like a handful of content creators that would, what is this song? I'm just going to start at the top again. So we'll see. I really hope there is a partnership between, Disneyverse and Veve and all that stuff. Who knows? Maybe Fortnite is that IP that David said he couldn't believe he paired up with. Who knows? But... I'm excited. I have to watch that interview. You guys are making me excited. I got to watch the interview now on my next walk or workout. So I have to listen to it, and I will listen to the Bob Iger earnings report thing. But Veve Vet, yo, I'm over 8K daily MCP. I understand that MCP isn't really anything right now. But once it gets big, I won't ever miss a drop. Yeah, I do. That's awesome. 8K. How many am I getting a day? Like 800, something like that. Not even that. Or I'm getting 1,000. Did they restructure MCP points or something? Or maybe it's because I finished the Rogue set yesterday, so I'm getting like a huge boost to my MCP. But I think originally I was getting like 700 or 800 a day. I was not getting over 1,000 like this. I think it's because I bought all the Rogue stuff and all that stuff yesterday. But no, I think MCP is going to be much bigger. I just don't think like if you only have, if your whole account is only worth a few thousand gems or even less than that, it's like restructuring your whole thing to revolve. I think MCP is it's more of a whales game. if you only have a handful of collectibles you're married to, or if you're just strictly here to like stack Tods and Waltz and everything else is like MCP related, like everything else, then yeah, go for it. I do hope they have, yeah, MCP only drops. I heard they were talking about that, where maybe you have to be a certain level or bid a certain amount of MCP in order to be eligible for certain drops. So I'm excited for MCP, but it's just the gem to MCP ratio has got to make sense, and it financially makes different sense for everyone else. For some people, maybe they can only buy stuff that's like, 1 gem per MCP, and then another person they can afford or just buy all the MCP items that's like under, 5 gems per MCP. Veve needs Disney to save them or buy them out in general. Do you think so? You think that's like the only way Veve, like as a platform, will get saved? Essentially, they like get bought out. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it. I do think, I mean, the whole market's crashing. I think like right now, if Veve try to advertise right now, it's kind of, at least if they made like a massive push and like increase all their spending right now. I mean, it's like market's crashing. Like no one's thinking like NFTs right now. Especially when the market's going down, there's a lot of conflicts going on. It's like, I don't think they should always, I think they need to stick to their schedule, but at the same time, I just don't see a whole lot of reason to like make a big push in advertising or anything like that. But Ben, I think you mean Penrose, said 2 weeks ago that they're still on track for the mobile version of the Veveverse to be released end of Q1. Q1 ends tomorrow. Ben never misses deadlines. It's true. Does it end tomorrow? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, end of March, technically. On track for the mobile version of the Veveverse to be released end of Q1. Q1 ends tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and, if it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. At this point, as long as they're still working towards it, I'm not too upset about deadlines. Probably because I don't think we need to be in a massive rush right now. JKRB, what's good? Thanks for the thumbs up. So I hope we get an announcement either tonight or tomorrow. I mean, that would be sick if we get Veveverse mobile. Obviously, there's going to be bugs and issues, so don't go into it thinking it's just going to work flawlessly. Odds are it's probably going to release. It'll work fine for certain collectibles or certain things, and then obviously, we'll have to fix that. Let me actually see something really quick. Forgot to change this. I didn't realize I still had Steam open. I was like getting messages, or people were trying to like message me. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get Veve mobile app end of Q1 tomorrow. I hope we do. But what's going on with the market right now? Let's see what's going on with the rogues. Wow, rogue pushing 6 gems. The common. I think it's because people might still be crafting the Gambit thing. Gambit's pushing. He's at 6.5, but technically 7.5 gems is kind of the more realistic floor right now. That's a really. Yeah, Kinetic Kiss is going for 32. That's the normal one. Which doesn't make sense because you can craft it for 25 right now. Or maybe a little bit more. Share Warrior. Where's she sitting at? 1050, yeah. I did sell mine. I think I ended up selling mine for like 10 gems. The reason why I'm selling some of these like rogues that are in like the rare and ultra rare, at least me personally, when I look at some of the other collectibles like Punisher, which I'd argue is probably more popular than Rogue. Yeah, like rare Punisher is going for 6 right now. I will say he did sell out, so I guess there are more mints of him. The Punisher, Skull Reaper. I'm also thinking ahead too, in the sense of like, I mean, we have May coming up in Star Wars. Rogue. Where's the SR doing right now? Still at 69. Yeah, no one's really undercutting. People seem to be all right with that. Or maybe they're too busy with other stuff. It is a Sunday. X-Men number 2 has great potential to becoming valuable and scarce. On Book and Veve burn over 50%, still unsold. Only 60 secret rares minted. Better looking SR cover than X-Men 1. I agree with all that. Dude, Vil, we're on the same page. Because I was telling people, comics, because I was telling people, oh no, showing me all of them, showing me every X-Men with a 2 in it. But I agree, because how many mints were there? 5,000. Okay, so it looks like a little less than half sold, right? Or a little bit more than half? No, little less than half. I do I do like the SR cover, even though Iron Man, even though Iceman looks like he's got these like rubber boots on, he's just sliding. And the other big thing too, and I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to buy more of these, is that people are going to want their X-Men run, right? People are going to want Fantastic Four, ASM, X-Men, you know, all these lines of comics. So if number 2 is going to be the bottleneck because there's only 2,000 of them, and you know you have more than 2,000 comic collectors that are going to want the X-Men, you know, 1 through 10 or 50 or 100 run, whatever. Pretty good thing to be in. So I like that idea, Bill. I always try to find the bottlenecks, or usually whenever someone's focusing on this, I'll buy something else. That's why I said, like, I'm probably going to buy most of my other stuff probably when, like, Star Wars comes out, at least collectible-wise. This is going to get burned. When did this drop? 25th. So April 25th, maybe the 24th, because... March has 31 days, so somewhere around there, the 25th, 24th or 25th. We'll see. Hopefully we get like a big announcement for like a big comic or collectible in the next couple weeks, and like this price will drop even more. But yeah, that's the right way to think, Bill. I like it. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the X-Men number 1 cover either. Comics. There's a way to organize this, right? Nope, not at all. Looking forward to the May 4th drop. Millennium Falcon, Death Star. I mean, do you guys want more vehicles or do you guys want characters? I feel like I would want more characters. Like, I want like Mace Windu, Yoda, Darth Maul, obviously Grogu, Jango Fett, Count Dooku. I mean, there's a bajillion characters in Star Wars that Star Wars can still use. I will say, like, Star Wars has been the IP that's probably held back the most when it comes to releasing characters. I think it's just because they have way less releases. But if you look at, like, Marvel, oh gosh, collectibles. It's all these like one-of-one artwork. But, like, Marvel's released a lot of characters. Disney's released a lot of characters. Like, there's a lot of FAs, but with Star Wars, like, there's hardly any FAs. Hence the overuse of FA. Mando, dude, yeah, I could not... It's been a couple of years since I've actually watched Mandalorian, and I actually forgot his name, so... Even though it's in the name, Mando. So let's switch to collectibles. A lot of posters. Posters, droids. A lot of posters. More droids. Units. So if we're talking about like true FA, not true FAs, but I'm talking about like first appearances of important-ish characters, I would say Stormtroopers are very important. R2-D2, C-3PO. BTS-2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8. I counted. Boba Fett, Darth Vader. I'm not counting Reva. Like, I'm thinking of if someone's joining Veve and they hear they have Star Wars, are they going to ask, do they have a Reva collectible? That's not the first thing they're going to ask. More than likely, they're probably going to ask, do they have Boba Fett? Do they have Vader? Do they have Luke? R2-D2? Obi-Wan? C-3PO? Maybe Admiral Akbar for the meme, so I'll maybe give like half a point for that. I'm talking collectibles with like the FA tag, not like the ATST. So was that like 7? R2-D2? So 8. That's kind of it. The rest are just droids, maybe 9 with like Stormtroopers. Jawas, I don't know. People aren't going to ask like... Jawas are fun, but I don't think it's like the most important thing on there. Just scored the SR of X-Men number 2 after 2 pulls. Let's go, Rob Cooks. See, this is the whole point of the stream. Did you do that because we were talking about X-Men number 2? The Vil is going to want a 20% commish on that idea. Nice. Rolling the dice. I like it. Now that he just got an SR, I'm not going to roll the dice again for a while. So Star Wars has been really holding back on their FAs. I mean, there's still at least like, I think like 10 or 15 like very relevant FAs that Star Wars can kind of come out with and people would definitely want to buy. Yeah, it's like no Mando, no Grogu, no Leia, no Han Solo, no Chewie, no, like, there's still a lot of them. It's, even just from like the original Star Wars. Let's see what else is going on in the market. This one did finish getting burned yesterday, I believe. First battle between Daredevil and Punisher. That looks pretty cool. I do like the cover. I don't think I played this one. Or like played this drop. But I will say the only IP right now that's actually doing any burns and is actually like making Veve like pretty interesting with like a lot of the crafting is Marvel. Like they're the ones actually introducing like burn mechanics, lots of, I mean Disney's done it too, but like not to the level Marvel has. So that's why I think people that are kind of relying on like burns and utility and gaming, all that kind of like if you kind of believe in like any of that kind of stuff, even like remotely, not financial advice, but it's like I think Marvel's the best one because they're the only ones that's been like that IP seems to be open-minded enough to at least try a lot of crafting and burns and kind of, you know, mechanics. Star Wars hasn't done that. Disney's done a little bit of that. DC hasn't done any of that. I mean, Vivi's done some of that stuff with their own IPs, right? But dude, this is one of the most underrated collectibles, and I need to make like a video about it. I remember when I used to make videos in like the market all the time, but I'm talking like might actually make a video outside. But like this is one of the more like underrated collectibles. I think the T-Rex looks great in any environment, and it's only going for like less than 3 gems. There's a lot of them. That's why it's so cheap. But are there any comics or collectibles you guys have kind of overlooked? Congrats, Rob. I haven't won for drops in months. The drop mechanics have been so bad with the addition of chaser element. It favors flippers way too much. I would probably agree. I mean, whether it's the special edition or the you know, SR, right? It's the same thing. It's just they're basically just putting the SR up front, or basically adding a second SR to the drop, especially when it comes to like crafting. I mean, would you guys rather see like more variants? I mean, that's basically what rarities do. I'm like, variants, I mean, that's kind of what rarities do. Because one thing I will say is like a bit of feedback is I do think that the is that the SR should be, not the SR, but the special edition should be like more, it should be like a different pose. This one is technically a different pose, like her head and like the way she's looking is a little bit different, but I kind of wish the special editions looked a bit more special, or at least a bit more unique, or some sort of way to show them off. Because if I was looking at these two rogues like side by side, like I would not know which one's the special edition or like the normal one. At least like at a glance. But yeah, I would say, because how much is the, I think X-Men number 2 was 2 gem, or it's 10 gems, right? Collectibles. Yeah, this just dropped 5 days ago. So Professor X, okay. Yeah, it's 10 gems, so I don't know if I could pull the slots on that, but yeah, dude, if you get an SR, that's awesome. How much is the SR going for right now? Whoa, this again. If I put a space after it, is that the trick? Damn, same thing. Still picking up Secret Wars 8 common when I can. Yeah, that's a good one. For me, at least collectible wise, I'm looking at Jokers like below 25. I like Joker under 25. If you look up any like tier list online, like they pretty much always have Joker and or Vader like in the top 3 spots consistently. There's only 7,500 of this guy. Where start with Vader, I think I mentioned it was like 27,000 of them. But so this one, or there's no really like comics I'm like really stacking right now, because I feel like every time I buy it just goes lower, and so it's not a bad thing. I mean, that's part of dollar cost averaging. But what was there was a couple of comics I was stacking just pretty consistently for some time, and then I kind of stopped. And I like all these covers in the middle here. Appreciate Disney Pinnacle right now, way better. Limited drops have 4 variants of 333 mints and 1 chaser, 299 mints. This makes all collectibles maintain value in secondary market. So let me see here. So it's 4 variants of 333 mints and 1 chaser, 299. So essentially they have, so it's 4, so what is it, 1,200 or like 13,000 mints, right? Or 1,300 mints when I'm doing my math. 1,300 mints, and then there's 1 chaser for an additional 300 mints. So it's almost like there's like a 5th variant with just as many mints as the others. Veve kind of does that with rarities. It's unfortunate because like Veve typically, like as the rarities go up, the mints go down, right? So if there's like 10,000 commons, and then there's like 5,000 uncommons, and then 2,000 ultra rares, so it kind of goes down that way. But I see what you mean. So essentially you have like a 1 in 5 chance, or maybe a little bit less than that, like a 1 in 6 chance of like getting the chaser. That's decent. I mean, that's better than some of these comics, which is like a 1 in like 54 chance. But that's also what makes them valuable. I think in some ways there is a certain point where people are saying the chance is so low I won't even bother, versus like, oh, there's a 5% chance or a 10% chance, I might as well go for it, or I could try and go for it. Because some of these comics, it does feel like there's hardly any chance of like getting the SR. That's marketing. Did I ever get Stacker to work with Alright, clicked on the wrong Joker, but whatever. Let's do this one. Analytics. I think it's recent activity. Let's try just Superman. Is this working? Superman? I think I just have to leave it on analytics for a little bit and then it'll load. Oh, did it work? No, doesn't look like it's working. All right, I might have to like log in and out of a Stacker or whatever, but let's see. Yeah, the whole rogue drop didn't surprise me too much. I will say the common prices going up a little bit did surprise me. I thought these would go down. I've been kind of comparing these to like the Punisher drops that happened earlier, right? That's the special edition. Like even right now, like the common is going for like 3.5 gems. If you look at Sabretooth. Common's at 6, but that's not the yeah, the like special edition is like almost 300, but this is 6. So maybe not too far off. I mean, this one didn't really sell out. Coming soon. New Mutants 86. Interesting. It's like an homage to the Spider-Man first appearance of Vulture. Stripe popular at all? Is this a good comic? I feel like no, unless people like explicitly mention it in like online. 86. Is this one worth anything? Oh, hold on. Gotta verify me human. All right. Oh, no. $60 for a 9.6. Yeah, these were selling for like $60 pretty consistently last year. 90-day average, 66. Okay, that's not whatever. All right, yeah, this is a nothing comic. First cameo appearance of Cable, really? So this is a key comic. I didn't know that. First cameo appearance of Cable? That's kind of interesting. What's Cable's first appearance again? I think we're done with VV set list too. That's the other thing I wish they kind of fixed on VV is like if I type the word Cable up here, I kind of wish I was offered, you know, if we did have a collectible, like the collectible first and then the first appearance comic. That would make it a little bit easier to search. Let's see. Okay. Sorry about that. I was just fixing a few things. So. Interesting. It's not showing that I own it. I own 5 editions of this. Okay, there. It's weird. I'm surprised it doesn't show the badges on this screen that I like own them. Or go back one more page. Go back another page. Yeah, I thought it usually shows like the badges next to the collectibles, like if you own it, but I guess not. Wow, common Spider-Man at $22.50. Is that as low? Oh no, there's a whole wall right there. We still don't really know the full amount of actual Spider-Mans in circulation, right? Because I heard there were still rumors that like half the Spider-Mans, at least like half the commons, like went to like a certain like VV wallet or like a very small handful of like wallets. Is that still like an ongoing like rumor? Did we ever confirm that, or has everyone just kind of dropped it? That was like an old story from, I mean, 3 years ago at this point, but I'm kind of curious if that's still the case, because yeah, we still don't really know. I mean, last I heard, we still don't really know how many actual common Spider-Mans there are. My collectibles. Floor's going up a little bit. think last time I saw, yeah, my collectible, I think it was at like 2.5 gems at one point. People buying up Electra. You know what? The transformative potion. I think the potion. Wonder what that's going for right now. Because I did want to circle back and kind of buy this at one point. 30 gems. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. Because, you know, this was part of like the very first like craft on Veve and all that stuff. So, plus I do think it's like a pretty decent looking collectible with like the key. It's pretty high detail. I don't think you can use it in the Veveverse at all, right? I don't think you can. So, yeah, there are certain collectibles I do want to grab just for the sake of kind of like there were like important times in Veve, or it's like the first craft or the first whatever. Like I think, right, it doesn't say it here, but I do think people that are in on the Veve community will understand like the importance of certain collectibles like this. I'm trying to think of like another collectible like this that like unless you're on Veve you really won't know the relevance. Uncapping is available until April 26, 2023. That's wild. So in a month it'll have been 2 years since the like transformative potion was released. Or no, that's when it ends. Yeah, March. Yeah. Wow, March 29th. Did we? Wow. Okay, so yesterday was 2 years ago is when this potion came out. Does it feel like it's been 2 years since this potion came out? The potion is one. I'm trying to think of another collectible that was pretty big for Veve. Not pretty big, but it was just kind of like a big, maybe like the gauntlet, like the infinity. Yeah, what's the infinity gauntlet going for? I remember that was kind of like a big deal too. Also going for 30, essentially. It's kind of a low 3-digit here for 45. I mean, it's 50% the floor, but it is a 3-digit. Veve fans, last week's Sesame Street drop Super Grover. It's a key example of why drop mechanics are so bad, 98%. That drop went for that drop, turned $30 into 7. That's an 80 loss in value. Not sold out. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's every time Veve, even if it's a solo drop, even if it's just like a Wolverine, a solo thing, or if it's just like, I don't know. I was just looking up. I'm trying to think of like another solo drop, but like it's kind of hard to not get people to treat the platform like it is a pack opening, right? Like if you're opening up a classic pack of Pokemon cards, there's really I've never done it. I never collected Pokemon cards, but I've watched a lot of videos on it and stuff. But it sounds like there's only like 2 or 3. There's only like a handful of cards from like the original set that gives you like all the value, and Charizard's most of it, obviously. The other 98% are just trash. So that's just kind of how it is on Veve. I mean, if you look at the no, we're not Rogue. I'm trying to find another. Miles is a bad example too. I'm trying to find like another collectible. Maybe Thor. Collectible. Come on, give me the collectibles. Now it's got to give me all the mighties too. And it's not showing floor prices. But long story short, you know what I mean, right? With a blind box, most of the value is always going to be up in the SR. That's just kind of how it is with most things, and just in the collecting world. And so, but yeah, people when Veve kind of presents people with an option of like, hey, do this, and then you have a 5%, 10%, whatever chance to get this other thing. That's what everyone's shooting for. And to be honest, yeah, if you buy it once, you know, you buy it 3 times. You know, you have 3 opportunities, but if you sell all 3 of those collectibles, now you have a 4th chance kind of for free, right? If it's 10 gems to like pull the slot, or in this case 30 gems, right? You know, you buy 3 or 4 of them, you miss out, you sell them all for, you know, between 7 to 10 gems, and now you can kind of pull that slot again. That's what people, it seems, usually use it for. It's just to like kind of pull the slot again one more time, or they just, you know, back out. Because it's also too like on Veve, unless it's like a huge grail or some sort of thing that people are going to look up on a daily. I bet you nobody looked up Grover today, like on the Veve app. No one like pulled up the Veve app and specifically typed in Grover. So it's one of those things where unless you sell the collectible like that day, maybe the next day, people are not going to look at that collectible ever again on the market. Like the most amount of attention that's going to be on a collectible is like the day it drops and maybe the day after if there's like a craft or something. So to be honest, that's kind of part of the reason why. Whoops. Oh no, everything's freaking out. Give me back. That's part of the reason why I kind of sold some of my rogues today, because I know it's like like my common, my rare, and my ultra rare, because I do want to keep the uncommon, I do want to keep the rare or secret rare, kind of like longish term, but I knew that was the best time to sell because like no one's gonna look at the rare, ultra rare, or common again for quite some time. That's just kind of how it is. Now, what can they do to fix the mechanic and make it more viable to keep stuff? I think they need to make the drops cheaper. Even if they do make it cheaper, let's say the Grover drop is like 10 gems, people are still going to do the same thing, but at least people would lose out a bit less, and I think more people actually go for the drop, or people are more likely to kind of keep the stuff too, especially if it's like, all right, I paid 10 gems for it, whatever. But if people pay like 30, 40, 50 gems for something, and they're like, oh, gosh, like, even if I can sell get half of it back, at least I can save those gems for like another drop. I don't know. It's really hard to change the behavior when everything on the app or a lot of the drops have just been kind of you know, it's a lot of it is for profit, right? Like a lot of people, I do want to collect, but I also want to make profit too. That's also kind of why over the last few weeks, and I still need to keep doing it, is like thinning out my collection and start actually acquiring things that I A, enjoy, and B, I know would be profitable in the future. I bought a few things for like the Veveverse to test it out, but I still noticed like a lot of comics are not comics. A lot of collectibles are still not in the Veveverse yet, so I kind of stopped buying Veveverse related stuff for now. And honestly, most of the Veveverse related stuff I want later in the future might keep going down in value. So, but I agree, Veve fans, it's not a good feeling when new users come on, they buy something. That's why, like, honestly, if I'm a new user, I would tell people to like maybe occasionally play a comic, but it's like, dude, just wait for the market. That's why I think like one of my first videos I'm going to make is just going to be for like newish users and just showing them how to use the market. It's like, if you see a drop you like, you know, go for it, but just realize like more often than not, it's going to go down a lot in value. Like where kind of, you know, where to buy things for cheap or where you can like really make some money. That's not chance related. It's just the market, you know, buy it while it's cheap or buy a collectible that's, you know, well below their box price. Common ASM 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 13 saw crazy buying action from whales this week. Eventually, they'll start stacking key X-Men books too. Yeah, that's why I'm going for some ASM. Like I do value ASM, but I do think like there's going to be a lot of X-Men fans, especially if Marvel's going to keep apparently pushing more mutant stuff, and you know, hopefully the chapter of the Avengers is over and now it's like about X-Men and the mutants, because I feel like there's way more characters to explore on that side. But no, that's a good call. And typically I'm also the type of person where I try to look where other people aren't. Like if everyone's focusing on this one thing, I'm like, all right, what else can I buy that something's like low or people haven't paid attention to in a long time. That's why like when something drops, I'll either try and buy or sell very quickly and just kind of get it over with, and then maybe I'll circle back around later to buy more if it goes cheaper. Okay, that's not doing it. So let's try my NFT tracker. Amazing Spider-Man. Let's do just the comics. Release date. Do common. We'll just look at the common comics. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man #3. Gosh, dude, there was a point where this thing was going for like $1.08. There's no way. I think someone just floored it once, very low. Yeah, I mean, this thing has been hanging out between 3 gems, and I mean, it did pump up to 12 for a little bit. Now it's down to 6. I'll just wait a little bit longer on this one. I think this one will eventually pull back to, 3 gems. Now it's at like 4.5. How many mints are there of this? I think ASM 300 is another one that people could be sleeping on a little bit. A lot of mints of this one. I know a lot of comic collectors really like the first appearance of Kingpin. I think Carnage has a ton of mints. That's why it's so low. Yeah, people are starting to put like FA Carnage for like less than 2 gems. So these are the kind of comics I'd rather have new users buy. It's like people, they're going to go for Amazing Fantasy 15. It's like, hey, like you have 10 gems. Okay, you can't afford a lot of these. But it's like, dude, you can still get FA this for, less than $1.50 or less than a gem and a half. FA, what's her name? Black Cat. A lot of mints of that, but at least it's cheap. So like, at least for me, this is where, maybe not this page, but like really new users need to be on this red tab and just kind of looking around, look at collectibles, go to see all. Logo is 60 gems, huh? How many logos do I have? I think I only have 2 or 3. Do you think it's smarter to buy a lot of different comics or focus on stacking 1 or 2 particular comics? I don't see, as long as you're just kind of, I mean, you can do both. Some people just stack a ton of AF-15s and, ASM number 1s, and then everything else is just kind of whatever. It depends on the comic. I think it also depends on the mint numbers. I really try to focus on comics that have, I mean, I'm not ignoring the ones that have 20, 30, or even 60,000 mints, but I try to focus on the comics that have that has 10,000 or less. Ideally 5,000 or less, kind of like this guy, right? Like X-Men number 2. Now that Marvel's introduced like the whole like automatic 30-day burn mechanic, I think that's, people are going to start treating these drops a little bit differently going forward. So I don't think you can go wrong with either. It is very nice. It's very easy to, wow. Oh, okay. I thought someone floored a common ASM for like 90, for 99. I was about to buy it. I'm like, dude, that's a like 30% discount. So yeah, either way, I don't think you can go wrong with either. A lot of different comics are focused on stacking 1 or 2 in particular. If your goal is to sell it, I think you need to have some sort of stack. Like if your goal is to like stack something and sell it, or be able to sell it off in increments to get gems as needed, yeah, you have to pick something to stack. And the nice thing I like about comics is like the answers are already out there, right? Where do you know what are like the quote unquote like best collectibles or best this, or the best comics and all that stuff. Now there's a handful that aren't representative of like the real life value, right? I think it was like 252, just because it's so scarce, or it was for the time so scarce, right? 1,000 mints. So is this comic worth more than AF-15 in real life? No, but on Veve it is, just because it's so scarce. Oh yeah, I still have some of these covers. I really liked this cover. I think I have a physical or 2 of it, and I just had to have it. I do like this cover a lot. I zoom in more. There we go. Yeah. I'm doing a little bit of both, and even then, like my stacks aren't that high. Most of the time, like I'll stack for a couple of days because I think it's low, and then quite honestly just kind of forget about it. But I should be a bit more organized and actually try and stack the right stuff. Like what about, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I just had it earlier. It was on my thingy. Whoops, maybe not. But no, that's a good question. I mean, same thing goes with collectibles too. Mint hunting is cool, but I would say it's kind of hard to find buyers. And settling on a price can be a little difficult, but am I looking for again? It was... Stanley. Could you guys believe I drew a blank on Stanley's name? Collectibles. He was cheaper than 7, I could have sworn. I was going to say Stan Lee is actually a pretty decent buy too right now. Stan Lee. Let's go. It's because I've been on comics. It's not what I want at all. There we go. Oh, 6.5. Okay, he's not that much higher when it was. Yeah, his all-time high was 85 gems. That's kind of crazy. Even this is starting to get 2 years old, right? Yeah, July 2023. Yeah, dude, these like Stan Lee drops came out. Are going to be 2 years old here in a few months. That's wild. But cool. Yeah, anything else you guys want me to cover? One of these days I do want to do a BV first thing. I do want to have guests on, talk more. And I'll be releasing my Discord soon. Talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. Where are your sunglasses today? They're right here. They're right here, Kristen. Waiting to see the next Stan Lee drop for those who got the jackets. You know what? That's a very good point, Pixel Trader. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's been a while since I bought my Stan Lee jacket a while ago. And it's at like a friend's place. I put it to like his address instead. Those who got the jackets. Yeah, I wonder when that's going to happen. When's the Stan Lee... Was that mentioned at all? Or I got to switch back to here. Because I remember buying the jacket... And we did get these on the drop, but there was supposed to be like a follow-up drop. I think it's on like a different website. I'll have to go on Veve's like blog post because I remember it did kind of explain the whole jacket drop and everything like that. It's just going to take me too long to kind of look it up on here. But yeah, I think people have been. I think that there's a lot of good collectibles, and I think ones with actual like real people like Walt Disney and Stan Lee are going to be very good to get. Because, like, what's Partners going for right now? Like the Partners statue. Remember, this is like a double first appearance, too. I still forget that this thing is Walt and Mickey. Right now it's going for about 1,200 bucks, almost 1,300. Or, sorry, gems, not dollars. We're talking gems here. Yeah, so about, yeah, 1,250. All right, let me zoom in more so you guys can see. And then, is there another IRL person on, I mean, I guess aside from the Epico, you know, like my collectibles and those guys, like, do we have another IRL like person on BV? Like as a collectible? Are people still buying this Rogue? Let me see. Burned editions, only 214? How does that make sense? 214. So wait, how does that make sense if there's only 200 burned editions, but you needed 300 to craft Rogue? Remaining editions. This one doesn't even mention burn editions. Pixel Trader says, David said a really big new IP is coming in April, something new to the space. Oh, did he say that on X? Let me look. David, you. Okay, was it an interview or? Got a really big IP is coming in April, something new to the space. Twitter space, and I think Uncommon Podcast too. Okay. I still have to watch that Uncommon Podcast video. I watched like a third of it, but I got busy with something else yesterday, so I'll have to watch it today when I work out or go for my walk. I'll watch the rest of it. I don't know. What do you guys think it is? Did he hint at it, or did someone bring up another IP and it kind of reminded him to talk about it? Did he seem to hint anything? Because if we get something... Because I thought he said he got like a big IP, one he didn't think you could secure or like land. Or you know what I meant to do? Let's see. Where is the... Did they get rid of that? Where is the... Where's the community thing on Veve? Where I can see like the community posts and stuff. Is that not on the web app anymore? Artwork, comic collectibles, Veveverse Market. Dude, I actually liked going on notifications. Julie Bean started following. Thanks for the follow. Added a new post. Where is this? Did they remove it? I can't click on it. View all. Notification. Did they get rid of it? That is wild. I really hope they fix that. All right, I'm kind of on the side of Kid Arcade now. We need to be able to look at the collectibles and the community thing. At least I can't find the community place. Yeah, that is so weird. I thought there was the community tab. I know it's on the app. Let me pull it up. Yeah, there's a community tab right here on the app, but not on the web app. That's crazy. All right, whatever. Let's see. Whoa. Oh, Veveverse stuff. Yeah, one of these days I'll do some Veveverse stuff, or I'll show you guys what I made. Keep getting distracted by this like automated playing thing over here, but cool. Yeah, was there anything else you guys wanted me to like talk about or cover? Seems like everyone's just kind of waiting for whatever David Yu is going to announce for the most part. And I guess people also mentioned Ben Rose mentioned like the Veveverse on phone, or it'll be like mobile by the end of Q1. So end of Q1's technically tomorrow, so hopefully Ben Rose will announce it, or that it's coming out soon. So when is that? I think he said end of Q1. At least that's what someone else said. For like the mobile version of the Veveverse, like on the phone. Man, I can guarantee it's not going to run smoothly. I mean, all these, every time we get, you know, that's just how it is with tech. Anytime you come out with something new or a platform or whatever it is, it's always going to have issues to start. So let's close that. Yeah, not much else to kind of talk about. I mean, I've already played the Rogue Dropout. I don't think these are going to sell out. Did these get burned as well after 30 days, or is it just the comics going forward? No longer the collectibles. I think the collectibles are still kind of like on a random announcement, right? Because I know actually the Rogue doesn't stop until the Craft. I think it starts. I think it stops technically in 2026. So I'm not sure why they always give these crafts like a full year for them to finish, even though most people kind of get them done within the first few days and probably never look at it again. We'll look to see what's up and what's down right now, and then we'll probably call it a stream, unless you guys want to talk about something else. Let's look at the all-time highs for collectibles. I mostly stick with collectibles, because anytime I look at all-time highs and I look at all collectibles, it just gets to look like this, where it's just 80% modern comics that people like overprice. Let's see, now we get these, a lot of the 101s. All right, get rid of the 101 artwork. Interesting thing. Thing the action. I mean, he's at an all-time high of 8 gems, so I usually look on this page for times that I'm kind of in the mood to sell stuff, or if I kind of spot something that I own and haven't really thought about and it's selling at a high price. That's usually not the worst time. Like even like this, like Galactus, going for like 27-ish, 26, 27. Are any of you guys collecting a lot of this like independent artist stuff? Especially some of this like brandalized stuff or anything like that. Are you guys still picking up like independent artists? Like there's a lot of people talking about like self-made. That's like another popular like independent artist thing. Let's see what else is high. Bert special edition. Sabretooth. 26. LA Strong. Yeah, so most of these collectibles are somewhat close to, not necessarily like their all-time high, but at least they're selling for good. Tucson says X Pokemon confirmed. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, Pokemon would be awesome. You guys see all those like people at those like Pokemon card like vending machine things? They like buy all of them and then like sell them on online or whatever. Like imagine that, but on Veve, or those people with that kind of money or that are that crazy about collecting. A lot of good cheap FAs. Yeah, there's a lot of good cheap FAs on the market right now. Yeah, we actually looked at this page earlier, so dude, no one's touching this UR Storm. There's just too many of her. Felix, what's up, dude? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the heart. Just checking out the market. Oh my gosh, do you guys remember this drop? Oswald. He was supposed to be like Steamboat Willie 2.0. Going for 25 gems, less than half of his box price. How many mints are there? 927, so less than 1,000 of these. That Oswald is what I have not thought about in a while. So that's the one thing I do like about just kind of messing around the market or looking through this stuff. Like sometimes I'll just stumble across a collectible I have not thought about in like over a year. And it is getting to that point where there's just so many on the app. There's so many drops and IPs and collectibles where there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of stuff. And eventually people are going to be like, oh, do you have Ghost Rider? I'm like, oh, which one? There's going to be, you know, or hey, do you have Spider-Man? There's like 40 Spider-Mans, right? Or Batmans. Yeah, we already looked at this earlier. Like even Todd, see, I'm on page 4, Todd. Todd's all-time low was 314. He might have gone down a little bit lower, but and maybe NFT Tracker didn't catch it because I could have sworn he was at like 289 or like just shy of 300 for a little bit. But even then, yeah, he's pulling back a little bit. That Cat Bronson, that's another collectible I haven't thought about in a long time, and people really like him. At least it seems like a lot of artists do. Starfire. That's another collectible I haven't seen in a while. I mean, I take that back. I mean, I've seen her at on this page for a while. Kind of like near like all-time lows. Wow. Dude, you weren't kidding. Grover's pushing 7-8 gems right now. C-3PO. I did see him at 42 yesterday. But yeah. I remember when he was going for all-time high 5,700 gems. Oily jig. God, there's so many posters. Sometimes anytime I click on collectibles and I start scrolling down, I just kind of forget how many posters we have. I really hope at some point Veve starts differentiating comics, collectibles, posters, even within comics. I really think there should be like Bronze Age, Silver Age, Golden Age, like all that kind of stuff to separate things out. Because that's also like literally how Marvel has their comics organized, so, you know, why not ours? Because sometimes it does get annoying when I'm looking through like the comic page, and I do want to just scroll down and just see a comic that catches my eye or something like that, but I'm scrolling down and sometimes I just get inundated with, you know, like modern stuff. Right now it's not too bad because people are mostly trading or listing, you know, like Star-Lord and some of these other ones. Wow, Star-Lord for under $2 or at $2. How many mints are there? Didn't a bunch of these get burned? Circulation, yeah, there's 6,500 of these total in circulation. Okay. Yeah, agreed, tags would help. Yeah, I do think we need more tags. Just to make things a little bit easier on the market. I mean, if they want people to spend more time on the Veve app or on the market or whatever, like just making it easier to search around and look for general categories. Sometimes I'm doing that too. Sometimes I'm just like looking for general categories of comics or collectibles. Especially comics. Most of the time I'm just like, all right, let me just see some Silver Age stuff. Let me see some, you know, Golden Age comics, whatever it is. But cool, yeah, we'll get more information. So tomorrow's the 31st, right? So yeah, tomorrow's the 31st. And then the 1st. Now we could, they said April? It's coming in April. So, okay, so it doesn't mean it's going to be April 1st. Do you guys think Veve's going to do some sort of like April 1st joke, meme, drop or something like that? Because the last time they did that was... which was pretty funny. Yeah, did this go up in price? Are people buying this kind of like in anticipation for April 1st? There's no way. No, it's been at 8 gems for a long time. It's actually at an all-time low of 8 gems, so I take that back. Part of me thought this was at like 4 gems at one point. It's like doubled in price, but yeah, this was... So, yeah, only 1,000 mints of this. And I think this was a waitlist drop, so I think I just didn't get lucky on that one. Also was scarce for the time. Thought there was something else I was going to talk about, but if not, I'll just end the stream. All right, guys, cool. Thanks for stopping by. All the people that showed up earlier. I'm just going to scroll up. Like Sven, D'Angelo, Tony, Tucson, Cool Mo, Veve fans, Bill. Where's Jason? I know Jason was here earlier, but appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm going to keep up with the streams. I might do some videos for new people. I still need to apply for the Veve affiliate link, to be honest. I've been kind of lazy on that. I still have to read through all like the fine text and stuff, but I do want to apply for it and try and get like new people on the platform. So thanks for stopping by. Hope you guys take care and hope you guys have a good one. See ya. Yeah, thanks, Adro.